cortex doesn't exist yet. So there is that. I should just run, and you can. But when I was growing up, it was you can run, but you're just going to get beat tired.
It's just going to make it worse.
You're just going to be tired when I catch you. That's all there is. So it goes in. Jake says it. He fled to avoid prosecution. Jake also throws out with the 48-hour challenge. If you're gone 48 hours, don't come back. Fucking awesome. So, and that was one of my comments.
Rail, your mom's here.
I was
so
just going to say, speaking of mom.
Hey, Esteban, your mom's in the room.
You know what?
Our mom's here.
I bet you she could still beat your ass.
Listen, I fear no man, but to this day, I would not fuck with my mother, and I carry. No, dude, no. And I've had my ass beat over the years in street fights. I would still rather just get into a street fight. Just saying. So, this
Your
kid
mom is of Latin descent, has a knife, and knows how to use it.
True story, yes. So, when I was a kid, that thought would be there too when I was getting sent to the principal's office. But taking action on that decision was so far out of my mind because I lived in that generation. We lived in that generation where you did something like that, you were getting your ass beat. You know what I mean?
Much.
Even if you were a good kid, you were getting your ass beat for something like that. So that's kind of where my mind went with this. You know, my one comment was, you know, when we were growing up, we never would have thought of doing shit like this because we knew the repercussions that would come of it.
It would make things worse.
Yeah, exactly. So,
not be able to sit for a week.
Yeah,
or more.
Exactly. Let's see. Robert says my mom hand delivered me, and she would say, "Don't take your eye off of him, as he will bolt." And I bolted many times. He says. So, but here's the reality side of this. Now, this kid who is obviously, allegedly, some sort of a behavioral issue if he's getting sent to the principal's office and bolting from it. So something's going on in this kid's life where he's deciding to do something like that. The repercussion, where are the repercussions? What are the repercussions? Like, you know, my thing was if my kid did that, first off, it would be big hugs when I found her. And then there would be some serious fucking repercussions. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say that I would whip my kid's ass, but you'd understand. You know what I mean?
She'd never do it again.
But the whole thing is like this kid, if you just look at all of the outpouring of all of the locals that took time out of their day to go search for this little kid, you know what I mean? The resources that were wasted because this kid decided he just didn't want to go to the principal's office. You know what I mean? Like, that was my first thought as a father, as a dad, was like, my kid would be in some serious fucking shit when she got home.
I would be on Amazon ordering a fucking Hot Wheels track just to beat that ass.
Fucking awesome. Holy shit.
Hot Wheels track. You're going to get your ass beat in 2 days.
Oh, if
Clint says,
if you ain't ever been fucking whooped with a Hot Wheels track, you don't know what a fucking ass whooping is.
Clint says when you hear that belt unbuckle.
Clearing fucking 5 Wrangler belt loops.
Yep. Betty Ann says in the room, I was taught by nuns if I got into trouble, I got it twice at home. Yep, true story.
Yeah.
So
pretty much. Not anymore.
I got paddled at school one time, and
right.
This is kind of where who I am now is when I became this person. So the day the fucking space shuttle blew up, okay? Mm-hmm. 8th grade science class, we're watching it, and the fucking shuttle blows up, and we're in science class, and science teacher's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening.
8th grade? I was in 5th.
Well, it's because you're a young buck.
No, wait a minute. It was like 80, what was it, 83? 86?
I was in 8th grade. I definitely know that. Well, I was in middle school. It might have been 7th. It was middle school because primary school was up till 6th, and we had 7th and 8th was middle school, and then 9th grade was... So it was definitely... So it was either 7th or 8th grade.
Okay.
And the teacher's like, immediately, so how do you guys feel about this? What do you think? And I just raised my hand. I was like, NASA's hiring.
Oh,
But
man.
I grew up watching fucking George Carlin and fucking, all these comedians, and
God.
that's just been my mindset. And he was like, "Go to the principal's office," and my fucking cunt of a stepmom, her fucking to this day has no fucking sense of humor. Said, "Yeah, you go ahead and paddle him," and I got paddled at school and got home and got whooped by her with a belt.
Yeah,
My dad was on the road.
I got paddled in
The,
eighth
the
grade.
old joke when the space shuttle blew up. What were the last words Kristen McAuliffe said?
I
What
wonder
does this button do?
does. Yeah.
Oh,
What color were Kristen McAuliffe's eyes? Blue. One blew this way, one blew that way. How do they know Kristen McAuliffe had dandruff? They found her head and shoulders all over Daytona Beach.
Oh man!
What's the last thing she said to her husband before she left?
What?
You feed the kids, I'll feed the fish.
Oh shit! God damn. NASA's official soft drink. They switched over to Sprite because I couldn't get 7-Up.
The last thing that went through her mind before the shuttle blew up.
Her ass.
Her ass.
All right, so getting back
All right,
into this.
That's terrible.
What does
dressed.
NASA
We're
stand for? Need another 7 astronauts.
Danny throws out in the room. We got the orange Hot Wheel whip. I got the whatever was fucking handy whip.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Not that I got whipped that many times. I remember my mom broke a wooden spoon over me.
Oh, I
pissed her off so
I don't
bad.
even know how many of those I've had broken on me. But going back to what you were talking about with that sarcastic humor, like this is why Stezo and I get along so well. I have always had that asshole sarcastic humor, and I know you guys out there find that hard to believe with my Facebook shenanigans.
Not you.
Dude, I remember when Jerry Garcia died, right? I was like 21, something like that. And so they were supposed to come around a Giant Stadium that summer, right? And my mother's a huge Deadhead, loves the Grateful Dead. And I am a huge asshole, love being an asshole. So I'm at work and I hear Jerry Garcia died. So, of course, I send a message to my mother that says, "Ma, I got good news. I got bad news, but I got good news." The good news is the Grateful Dead tickets you wanted to get are going to be real cheap now. The bad news is because Jerry's dead. I'm such an asshole sometimes.
Wow.
It was 1986. So, yeah, you weren't in 8th grade, dude. 86?
12.
We would have been 11. So, oh, yeah,
Dude,
yeah, okay.
No,
Yeah,
I was 12.
7. So, 7th grade, probably.
7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
7th or 8th
Could have
grade.
swore
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
5th grade, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. So, anyway, so getting back to this kid, reeling it back in. If this was my kid, and I would love to hear phone calls on you guys' take on this. If this was my kid, the very first thing that my kid would be getting is enrolled in voluntary community service. Because this kid wasted so many man hours
True.
of taxpayer money putting people out in the elements because he felt like going on a fucking hike. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying, oh, it's dangerous out there, blah, 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 blah. But you've got, hundreds of people, if, dozens or hundreds of people out there scouring through the woods, looking through shit. You've got all of these people out there with the potential of falling, fucking up their legs, fucking up their knees, this, that, and the other thing. People themselves getting lost, which does happen in searches.
Yep. I've
You know
done
what
a
I
few
mean?
of them.
So now you've got, this kid is literally wasting all of these resources. Big problem. You know what I mean? Like, that's something where it's like, you fucked up by the numbers, and
Yeah.
guess what? You're going to fucking take care of this. You know what I mean? Like, that's just that's me. That's my thing on it. You know what I mean?
Sign him. Oh, he's too young. Never mind.
You could still do community service.
I
of
was
some
gonna say
sort.
you can't send him to the fire department, but he's too young.
You could still, there's got to be some sort of community service program or something that you could be like, you're doing it. You know what I mean?
I'd send him to the volunteer ambulance and the volunteer fire. Make him clean everything up.
Dude, I've been on probation, and I can tell you this. I had 200 hours of community service. And let me tell you, it works. Like in all of those 200 hours, and 200 hours is a lot of
I was
fucking
gonna say,
time.
you know what? It doesn't sound like a lot when you say
Dude,
I did 200 hours.
It took me over a year.
It
to do
really
this.
is.
Yeah, when you work full time and you've got a
Right.
family and you do this, that, and the other thing, it took me over a year to do those 200 hours.
Because you're
of
only
community
doing, what,
service.
an hour or two at a time?
I was doing, let's see, I was
Maybe
getting
3 or 4?
I was doing like 3 or 4 hours at a time, I think. I
Yeah.
was like doing like 4 hours. But you had to do at least 2 hours a week. That was the requirement. So I think I was doing like 4 hours a week. But anyway, doing that community service, it fucking sucks, man. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what you're doing, the whole time you're just thinking about motherfucking community service. But then after a while, you get to that point where it's like, you just start thinking about what you did
Right.
in order to get to that point. And it's really just a matter of time and your experience as the timeline goes on. Like, I got to that point really quickly. It was like, man, what could I have fucking done different? You know what I mean? I wish I had done it different.
Robert throws something out that I was just thinking about. That helicopter could not have been cheap.
That's
gotta,
right. And there was a helicopter out there.
You got to pay
And
the guys to fly it. You got to fuel it. You got
maintenance.
Maintenance.
Here, and here's just a quick idea if you want to know roughly the cost for a helicopter. If you get medevaced,
It's about 15, 20 grand.
no, it's like, well, it may be more now, but a few years ago, like I remember in Jersey, it's like $8,000 just for the life flight. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
that's
and that's
now
that's
it's-
them showing up and flying you to the hospital. That's
Right.
not them circling the fucking woods
Right.
for hours and
Now,
hours and hours.
It's probably up. I'm gonna say between 12, 15 grand.
Yeah, it's either way, man. It ain't fucking cheap.
And I only know that because me being a prior EMS worker,
Mm-hmm.
I've flown out quite a few people,
Yeah.
and then I've seen those people after they've recovered, and we get to talking and ask them how much their helicopter bill was.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up there.
Yeah.
It is up there.
Yep. Let's see, and they're throwing out in the. Let me see, read some of the comments. Helicopter is a big cost. Before you go to Vernon, before I got to Vernon, there was a principal there that would occasionally fight students and try to discipline them. Oh, I wonder who was that, Andy? You got to tell me who that was.
What?
'Cause, yeah, Andy and I both went to Vernon, but he was like a year or two older than me. Helicopter is a big cost. Canada throws out our high school required community service hours just to graduate. That's fucking cool, actually.
We don't have that over here.
That's
I
kind
don't
of
think.
neat. I actually like that idea. It's kind of cool. Betty Ann throws out, I agree.
I
the
think
family.
I think it's bad that community service is like a punishment. You know what I mean? It's like how you should be as a fucking person. Help people in your fucking community that you can help.
Yeah.
It's a fucking punishment.
Yeah.
Hey, you broke the law. You got to go
Help your neighbors.
push old people across the fucking street in wheelchairs
Yeah,
for
seriously.
fucking 6 weeks. You're like, I should do that anyway because I'm not a
exactly.
piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. Ghost throws out in the room, pick up trash on the highway or shovel snow in town. Oh, that'd be a fucking killer one, shoveling the snow in town.
Shovel out the hydrants
Yep.
in town.
Danny throws out, my
That's a good
parents
one.
made me work off all of my idiotic instances. I think if my mother made me work off all of my idiotic shit, I'd probably still be working it off.
What are you doing this weekend? I gotta go.
Paying off my student loan. Shut the fuck up.
I'm still paying off shit from 8th grade. It's going to be a while.
My mom's got me shoveling the town. I can't do shit this weekend.
As soon as I hit those high school years, I'm free.
Robert throws out, he had a friend from 6 West. His bill was to Westchester was $40,000 for that helicopter flight. So,
And it all
so that
depends.
alone, like, that's a huge resource.
Yeah,
You know
it
what I
all
mean?
depends on what they got to do.
Well, yeah, it also depends on what they're doing to you in the helicopter because you got medical personnel and all that other shit.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there were probably medical personnel, on hand somewhere.
Oh,
You
yeah.
had paramedics, EMTs, and all that kind of stuff.
No,
So,
no
I mean,
paramedics.
Dude,
around here.
my brother dumped a GSXR 1000 about 35 miles from Milwaukee where we lived.
Mm-hmm.
And they life flight him because he... Stupid story real quick. No helmet, buzzing down the road. A fucking June bug hits him in the middle of the forehead.
Beaner.
Makes him just
Right.
tweaks his head back a little bit, whips his glasses off, teared up, looked down at the speedometer, doing 85, started slowing down, hit the gravel, laid it down, slid forever.
Yeah.
Life flighted him 35 miles from Milwaukee, and it was like, and this was 12 years ago,
Uh-huh.
15 years ago maybe. it was like $35,000.
Yeah.
That's redundant.